Hi, hello. النهاردة our third live session from hashtag nurture. And actually is our second week. تاني أسبوع إن احنا نبتدي إن احنا
هاي
نتكلم
هلو.
تاني أسبوع هنبتدي نطلع فيه لايف والنهاردة هيكون معانا الformer IFC regional manager. She will talk to you about the interest of the investors in any startup and what do they look for and so on. معانا Mrs. ندى شوشة. Hi, hello.
Really very happy to be with you.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much for helping us and supporting us. And thank you for your session today. We're looking forward for a very fruitful one. A lot of people are very interested in this topic. And the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I was thinking of first of all, I'm so happy to be with all of you. I hope that I will get to know you know better in the Q&A session, and that's why I wanted to make more or less a very informal talk. I don't have a presentation. I just wanted to give a couple of words and then leave the floor to maybe the Q&A. So before I start, just a bit more of a background. Why am I so interested in hearing from you? So I used to be regional manager of the IFC. It's part of the World Bank Group, focusing on private sector. So we used to handle investments of equity, but also loans for private sector companies. I left these responsibilities 4 years ago to focus really on my passion. My passion is entrepreneurs like you and women empowerment for a number of women that are probably logged in. These were my two passions. But also I was then called to be on several boards and on investment committees for these funds that invest in projects and new businesses, new startups. And I feel it's extremely exciting. I love working with young ideas. It's amazing the new ideas and the new products and the new projects that I get to hear. And then we sit and make a decision to invest. So that was my part in saying, okay, I wanted to share with you the side of the investor. What are they looking at when they decide to invest in your business or not? So I was mentioning that I was looking at IFC portfolio loans and equity. So just to make sure, loans are money from banks or microfinance that need to be paid back. Equity or capital investment are investors putting money in your business that doesn't need to be repaid, but of course will need to be shown profits or profits distribution, or at the time where this investor is going to sell, will want to see a profitable sale. There's no free lunch, there's no free money when you're talking about commercial projects. So this is what the investors are looking at. How is he going to put money to make more money? Now, the two kinds of financing, be it loan or a partnership or having an investor with you, are equally good. It will very much depend on your needs. I would like to focus on the equity investment, the partnership, because it has very often for startups, it has, or young entrepreneurs, it has the advantage, number one, that it doesn't need to be immediately paid back. So a loan is good to finance a certain amount of time, but then if you want to grow your business, having more people with you, bringing in more money, can be very helpful. And then especially these investors have experience, so they can usually really mentor you. I mean, again, it's their money that they are putting in into your company eventually, so they want to make the best of it. So they will help grow it and nurture it, if you want. And on the other side, since they usually these funds, or at least the funds that I'm connected with, have different clients or different investments, and very often can benefit one company with the connections that they have in other companies. So it adds maybe to your network, and it adds also to your knowledge. So that's the first part that I wanted just to explain. What are the advantage to have an investor coming into your business? As I was mentioning, the investor is not going to come for nothing. I mean, he will want to see a profitable business. And a couple of things, and these are the things that I wanted to uh, discuss or present to you, that are really in focus. So when we get an investment proposal, these are really things that we focus on. So number one, really the revenue model. Does your business make commercial sense? Will it be profitable? Will it be sustainable? I want to make just a bit digress on the amount of profitable. IFC, where I worked for 16 years, is a developmental institution. So you would say, okay, developmental and profitability doesn't really go together, right? You want it to be developmental. So why do you want to see a profit? Because for developmental, we want to see companies sustainable. And it's only having profitable companies that these profitable companies will grow and will create new jobs and make an impact on the market. So this element of profitable is, it's not more the profitability, it's more the sustainability. Is your business sustainable? Will it grow, or is it a one-off? Right? So it's really looking at your revenue model. Is it something, are the products that you're selling or the services that you're providing generating enough revenue to cover the costs and plus? So there are certain businesses that take some time, right? I mean, you start and then your costs are still big and it's not immediately profitable. But we look at the model itself. Uh, does the entrepreneur, whatever product or services uh, produced, is it something that will be able to grow? And in growing so, are the costs going to or remain always lower than the revenue? Or in fact, are the margins going to be so small that it's not going to be sustainable? So one of the mistakes that some of these investors do is that they don't first of all, they don't think about the revenue model. I worked with an entrepreneur that had such a brilliant model. A brilliant a product, a platform where school children from K to 12 could enter, and other people would share videos explaining, for example, a subject in class. What was really brilliant, and it was a website that was really growing. But then I was saying, okay, where do you get your money from? Okay, So yeah, it was advertisement, okay, and sponsorships. Said great, that's fine. That will keep you afloat for some time. But if you do not charge your product, at the end, advertisement may dry up on the web, and and you will have to spend only your time going to see sponsorships. You need to find a revenue model. And this entrepreneur couldn't find the revenue model. And that was typically something that never went anywhere because it was an extremely good idea, a very useful idea, a unique idea, but he was not able to translate the number of hits or the number of lessons given or anything into hard cash. So revenue model, how do you get your revenue from your product and your services? Did you consider all your costs, right? There are some entrepreneurs that we've seen, yeah, they have a revenue model and it looks like being profitable. But when you look at costs, there are a lot of costs that have been forgotten. Example, yes, it's a small business, but for example, it's being operated out of the person's flat. That's great at the beginning, but when you grow, you will not be able to grow if you are not calculating that you will need to have offices where you will be paying rent and so on. So you need to make very, very sure that when you project for your business, you capture all the costs. The same as, for example, in the beginning, probably the financing comes from your family. So the same, when you grow and you will ask for a loan, do not forget to calculate the interest of the loan, because what the investor will want to see is really how much profit is generated by your business. The second very important point is, can your business really be grown? Can it be replicated? Do you have a product that, for example, fits in many locations, or is it really local? Assume that you have, I don't know, a bakery that works very, very well because in the area you're operating your bakery, there's no bakery. But will you be able to expand your business and replicate your business model? That's very important to see, because I mean, what the investor will want to see too is, if it's a good idea, he will want to replicate it. Sometimes internationally, there are small. I just want an example on the investment committee, the fund that I'm on the investment committee, for example, invested in Swivel. I don't know if you heard of Swivel. It's these bus transport apps. So it came to us, should we invest in Swivel or not? And can it be replicable, or is it just Cairo? No, it could be replicable anywhere. And actually, this app could cover all of Egypt. And even it went internationally. I think this app is now working in, I think in Nigeria, I think in Kenya. So it was a great idea that could be replicated. And then we look at the specificity of the program, of the product or the service. What we call in technical terms, the barriers to entry or the competition. Now, your product, is it unique? Do you have a patent or a technology? Is it unique to you? Or is it something very common that everyone can just copy, right? If tomorrow you have developed something and someone steals your idea and does exactly the same in the neighborhood, So that's like very focused on the barriers of entry, and it all resolves about the revenue model. Is your product going to, are the costs correct? Can it be grown? Can it be replicated? And is it unique enough not to be copied? That's one. Number two, what we look very, very much is management. Okay. I was mentioning when we invest in a company, it's very much a partnership. So a lot of what has to do is chemistry, actually, chemistry between the owner and the manager of the company and the fund. Will we be able to work together? Does the person that knows the business, because again, the fund is more or less a passive investor, it will not manage your company. It will provide advice. As I was saying, it can open up contacts, but it will not be able to manage your company. So how good are you at managing your company? How good are you to listen and to uh, take also certain advice? And here I have another example. Unfortunately, I mean, I have many good examples where it worked perfectly well, and we worked really great, and it was a partnership. But I want to make you benefit from the examples that didn't go so well, so that you don't repeat these mistakes. Entrepreneur, the same. So I was there was an investment and was mentoring, but it was like, this is my baby. I know it all. So you give him advice, like, I'm giving you advice. I'm not wanting to do anything. Uh, so it was like, or it was rejected, the advice was rejected, or it was like, yeah, I already did that. And again, it's one of the entrepreneurs that at the end of the day didn't go anywhere, because when your business grows, you will not be able to do everywhere. So you will have to hire people. You will start of hiring people, and you will have to let go and manage from the top. Sometimes it's very difficult, and in my experience, it's even more difficult for women. Strangely enough, or not strangely enough, and I can understand they the business that they have built. Many considered us, this is my child, this is my baby, this is my creation, and become very defensive about it and very emotional about it. And when you go and invest in, actually, I mean, there were two companies in Egypt led by women, super, with so much potential, absolutely great product. We were in talk to invest, and both ladies started to panic, saying, "Oh, but I will lose part of me if I sell part of my company," which is okay. I mean, it's a choice, but for me, business is business, right? Be emotional with your family, right? Your family goes above everything else. Your business is your business, and the less emotional you are about your business and doing the right thing, the better. So, just to sum up, management is really important, and also planning when you grow to have the right management in place. Because when you don't have, actually, very often you have the product that is important, but if you don't have the right management, the right people to move it, the product, the service, the company will go nowhere. And last but not least, what an investor looks, and that's the boring part. Yeah, Nardine, sorry, you're on mute.
Sorry, we lost the connection 2 seconds ago. Can you repeat again? Because there was no connection.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I was on management still, right?
Yes,
Yes.
this is the
Okay.
last thing.
So
You were
basically,
talking about the difference between the emotions because the family, you go with the family with the emotions, but not the business.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So
Okay.
I mean, that's the advice that I was going to give is leave your all your emotions and your sentimentality with your family, your friends, and take out these emotions in your from your business and do the right business decisions. Again, management is very, very important because, again, if you have a good product without the right management will go nowhere. And again, I mean, the same, you can have the greatest management if they don't have the right product or services will go nowhere either. So you have to have this combination. And then I'll go on last point, that is the boring point. What an investor looks into is really to have your papers in order, really. I mean, the legal and the financial, that your books are in order, well recorded, and the same that you have your legal papers in order. It really makes investors shy away when there are a lot of fixing to do. The permit, there are no permits. There are taxes that should have been paid and have not been paid. Um, the books are not correctly for all these are the boring stuff. Very often, we go discuss with entrepreneurs and they're on the creative part and they have a great product and the same, I mean, great character, great management, but the infrastructure of the company is missing. And you cannot invest in a company that, for example, doesn't exist or doesn't have a legal structure or that doesn't have a permit. Or so I can't emphasize enough to make sure to have your legal, your financial, or at least, I mean, your financial books well in order. So I think I'll stop there. These are the three major things I think that investors look at. Number one, really the revenue model. Is it a good idea? Can we grow it? Uh, are you and your team the right management to get it to the second level, the third level, the fourth level? And did you build your business on solid basis? I'll stop here and I'll wait for your questions, if it's okay with you.
Can you read the questions or you cannot read them?
I don't know.
Manar is asking what type of investors would be interested in startups. This was her question.
There are many funds now. I mean, there's a whole list of funds that are looking at there are private investors, but also funds. So I mean, there is like the incubators, Cairo Angels or Flat Six Labs, and then those who take these that are more than an idea, that have a kind of business plan that I was telling you. For example, the fund that I'm working with, Sawari Venture, typically looks at startups, but startups that have already, let's say, uh, 1 year of existence or 18 months of existence. So that are not just at the stage of idea.
Okay, actually, I have a question.
Hmm.
Did you you were on a board before and you invested in a startup and then you يعني you ندمتي I forgot. Okay, you felt that this was a mistake, I mean.
Yes, I mean there are some. Listen, I mean when you have startups, you take a very big risk. Okay, so you really need to because most, let's say, the concept here when you invest in a startup, you build yourself on the premise that when you invest in 10 companies, probably seven, 6 or 7 will fail, which is okay. I'll go back to failure, okay? Which are fine. They fail. The idea was not so great. The management was so great. All the little mistakes that I was telling you about. Um, 2 will do okay. Probably the 2 out of the 10. You won't lose any money. You'll do some money. You'll cover your cost. You'll have a return. And then 1 of the 10 will be the great thing. And I was giving now the example of Swivel. Of now, I mean, it became a much larger company. New investors are coming in, so whatever price we paid for the stake, I mean, the fund paid for the stake is now doubled, tripled, uh, and this investment will most probably will do very, 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 very well. Okay, but at the same time, 2 will not do really well, will not do bad, and probably 7 will fail. Now, I want to give also my experience on failure. Um, Failure is no big deal. Never say it as a failure. It's you learn. Okay. When you look at in the US, you have the entrepreneurs of the US, and you look at their CVs, you have like, oh, he started this and it failed, and he started that and it failed, and then it started, and this is his third attempt to create a company. And in the US, and for me too, it's experience. So this entrepreneur tried 2 things already before that, and he learned from his mistake. So there's a saying, I never lose. I either win or I learn. And this is why the same, just go ahead and even when a business fail for any reason, it's experience. And it's part then of the when I was telling you the management experience. In Egypt, very often we have the tendency of seeing that, it's a shame to fail. And I think that's a kind of seeing it that is very narrow, because then we don't try. If we from the beginning we are scared to fail, uh, then we don't even try. And these funds, so they are there. We do our best when we look at investments, but again, I mean, that's the whole point of investing and investing equity. You take the risk, right? So that's why having an equity investor with you is good. He takes the risk too with you.
Manar also asked, are investors interested in specific sectors or impact to be realized?
Specific sectors, not really specific sector. It all depends. In startups, um, not really. But of course, I mean, there are sectors that are growing, and there are sectors that are not really growing. For I can talk to you about, I mean, the general sectors. For example, if I were in the IFC doing big investments, I would not invest in oil and gas. It's a sector that I don't believe has much potential. But I would invest in renewable energy or anything that has to do with renewable energy. I do believe that's the future, right? Now we looked at COVID, and suddenly all the investment, or all the how do you say, products and services that are online, for example, payment services, even gym online. I mean, I do Pilates, and I did Pilates online. All these services we've seen, and they are there to stay. So no, I don't. I think investors in startup wants to see, it's across the sector, but they want to see a sector that is growing and that is growing faster.
Okay, another question about Nurture. Nurture has recently ran a mompreneur capacity building program and still running it. So, are there any funds specially interested in women-led businesses?
There's the, not that I know, there are not specific funds that I know that are focusing on women-led entrepreneurs. Um, so not to my knowledge, there could be, but I think, I mean, there are funds that are there, and again, I think as if you have a good idea, you are a good manager, and you have your papers in place, there is no reason why the fund is not going to look into your business. And we have invested in women entrepreneurs.
You have already did
Yes,
this.
yeah.
Okay. And what was the successful rate? I mean, were they successful or they had so many challenges? What kind of
Let,
challenges did they face as well?
let's listen. It's too early to tell. I'll tell you, I mean, the challenges that I see with women. Um, and one of the investment, this is the enterprise fund, and it's a startup. It's just it's Dawi clinics. So it's opening a network of clinics. The two, it's two ladies actually that started this idea, extremely professionals, and super energetic. I'm on the board of this company, and where I see where women are, and I tell her all the time that we are too shy. We should be more aggressive in everything. Uh, we try. We are shy to ask. So, like an example, so the enterprise fund invested in her business and is really looking forward to have it grow. She needed advice, for example, IT advice, because on her clinic, for example, there's a lot of telemedicine that could be done, but she needed help on her platform. So I said, ask the fund. Said, no, but they invested in me, and I can't tell you that. I said, go and ask them. And I'm sure the worst what they can do is to say, no, we cannot help you, or we cannot fund you, because they are even helping her fund her consultant. So, and the same in the numbers, it's less. Something is holding us women back, and we need to change this mentality. That's what I see. Man, they don't have any issue in going and asking for what they need, and sorry, I can't find the word, but it's really like making their business much bigger than they are. We are like, uh, we need to be on the facts, and we are very cautious. And if we don't believe that we will, and we are too cautious, even in our numbers. We rather have, a man would say, okay, I think I can sell 80, and in his business plan, very often he's going to say, I will put 100. A woman will say, I think I can sell 80, but I'll feel very bad if I can't sell 80. So for my business plan, I'm going to put 70. So people will be happy to see the 80 that I will achieve. And that's very typical, that, without knowing all this reasoning, what is the investor going to see? Someone who promises 100 and someone who promises a 70. But chances are that it's the woman that is going to achieve the 80. I don't know. Do I make sense? But this is what, by experience, I've seen. We are too cautious and
Yes.
not aggressive enough.
Yes, I agree. Although we usually succeed more,
Yes, yes, yes,
but we're always very cautious and we're not very risk takers. I mean, we always
exactly,
get the step
exactly.
back.
And we need
Yeah,
to change that. And we need to change that.
yeah, yeah. We don't have any other question actually. So if you want to add something more or
No, I would. Can we ask any? What is the background of the people who have logged in? What are their kind of businesses?
no, not quite. I'm not quite sure about that right now. Uh, some actually are working in banks. We have Manar, Manar. Ahmad Osman also. He just like the video. Mr. Ahmad Osman is the president of the ICSB. Uh, I don't know who else is watching. I don't know everyone, I mean, but that's what I have.
Okay, I mean, it would have been interested to know what kind of business. Good.
Yeah. So you have anything to add, or you're done with us today?
No, I mean, I'm happy to go into any other subject. I thought this is basically, I mean, the three things that, and investors look into the businesses, and these
It's
are
quite
the three important
interesting.
things. So,
It's quite interesting actually because I also we hashtag nurture we also provide pitching trainings, and then several times I got asked what are the investors interested in, why would an investor choose me or choose someone and doesn't choose our company, and so on. So I think this was very beneficial because everyone is always wondering how the investors will be interested in their projects. Um, and I think also maybe you can tell us more about the steps that we need to take from being a startup. We just launched our project until uh, putting our project for an investor to invest with us. What steps can we take?
no, I think, I mean, your first step is really your business plan, right? Having your idea, and again, going through doing your business plan and your pitch book. Okay, so you'll go with your pitch book to the investors, and basically that's the three fundamentals that you will have to have there. So your idea, why do you think it's a good idea, right? Why do you think that the investor will make money with this idea, right? Why is your product or your service unique? Okay. And how do you think that it will grow? So that's why the boring stuff. I will collect money this way. I will sell so much, but next year I will sell so much, so much, so much. So a real good business plan. Um, all my costs, and then analyze your product. How does it fit in the competitive landscape? Okay, why? What need will it fill? Right. So why is it a great product? Because probably it fills a need. What is the need that is being filled? What are your competition doing? Why are you better than the competition, if there is a competition? And again, as I was saying, why will you stay unique? Because if anyone can get your idea and do it again, then your idea is not really unique. And if you are saying that you will sell 80, you won't sell 80. You will sell half if the other business starts operating. So basically, it is starting, putting on paper, doing your business plan. And of course, to be able, and very often to see, to be able to achieve this is what kind of money I will need. Okay. When you determine what kind of money you will need, then comes the question about how will I get the money. And as I was starting from the first, was like you can go to a microfinance loan, a micro loan, or you can go to an investor. It will depend if you want a partner and grow with the partner, with what the partner brings you, or you can finance this with a loan that you will need to be paying back. Sometimes it makes more sense to make a loan. So all these are the questions that you will need to know before pitching it to the investor. Because what the investor hates is if he asks you a question, and be prepared, be prepared, be prepared. Because what the investor hates most is when you pitch to him and he asks you a question and you say, I don't know, or let me look at the figure. No, you need to know exactly what you are doing, what your needs are, and how you'll get there. Don't know. Did I answer your question?
Kind of. Because I wanted to know, after preparing the business plan, I
Yes.
mean, what's the next step?
No, the next step you start knocking doors at investors.
But what is the minimum, I mean, the minimum revenue forecast you would look for, or what is the minimum net profit you would look for?
Okay, so now, I mean, there has been a lot of changes in in the ecosystem of the entrepreneurship in Egypt. You have investors and funds that go into probably every stage of the development of a company. So if you have a really good idea with a business plan and you are just starting and you have a good idea, probably I would tell you go to a flat six labs. Or I mean, again, there are a number of funds that really look at really startups. Okay, if you have already, for example, a year of operation and some revenue to show, you can go to the next stage to, for example, Sawari. So there's no minimum. It's the stage of the company that counts, and there are a number of funds that target exactly this company. So you have the incubator, the accelerator, and then the venture capital, and then you will have private equity. So every fund has his specialization, and there's not a minimum. You have to look at the stage of development of the company. If you have just the idea and it's a good idea, you go to the incubator. So it incubates your idea. If you're already at a stage where you have a company and you want to accelerate the growth, you go to the accelerator. And the investor, in fact, it's much less that he wants to see profits, he wants to see potential, right? He wants to see potential. He wants to see a product that will be, like I was mentioning, uh, unique, that where there's barriers of entry, so not everyone can do that, and then it's replicable. That you will be able to replicate it and grow it.
Okay, I'm done with the questions. Thank you so much. And thank you for the beautiful session. Honestly, it's very informative and it's very beneficial for any entrepreneur or a startup that is going to put their projects for investors. I hope we can have you on our live sessions again with another topic, maybe with another hat.
Yeah, great. And again, I think you have distributed my contact. So I'm always happy to mentor entrepreneurs. So
Yes,
if,
please.
if if you have any questions or you want to further discuss anything, uh, I'm always amazed at the ideas and especially women, I have to say, uh,
Yeah.
new ideas and energy that goes into creating businesses. So I'm happy to answer any questions then in private.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we will have you again in our live sessions.
Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
Nadine.
And have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Bye.
Bye.